Like, what is happening today? Why is the internet so bad?
Okay.
And our stream platform decided to be echoing our voices and scrambling it. Jide, can you hear me?
Okay, a little bit.
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you move back a bit? Because
Okay,
I
but
cannot
yours
see
is,
you. Can you see me?
yes, but it's crumbling.
Okay, can you move back? Yeah. Can you move back? Yeah. So your face is, it shows. Okay. So we've had a little bit of hiccup this morning, guys. Again, my sincerest apologies. These things are tested beforehand, but on the day of the stream, we can never say. So it's very interesting. We are not currently on YouTube now, so we've moved to our Instagram page, so you can catch every session here, at least for now, till we reach out to Restream to figure out what's going on with their platform. So we're just going to get into it. But before Jide, I introduce Jide. So KRO sessions for the last couple of weeks. This ought to have happened last week. I was down. Yeah, that happens sometimes. I'm human. And we're having it this week. And I'm very, very excited to have Jide Ajao join us. Jide personally handles my books, handles the books for my company, Pandora Agency, and that's what KRO sessions are for. We actually bring experienced minds. If Jide was not handling my books very well, there is no way Jide will be on this platform this morning. You know, he's excellent at what he does. He's super, super good, and he's affordable. Ding, 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 ding. Very affordable. So please, obviously, you're going to learn one or two things from him concerning how to manage your books. So, and if you do need him to, give his personal touch to it, please feel free to reach out to him. Again, I'm excited to have Jide join us. This is a session that honestly, we should have had this session for about a year now, but it was moved for this particular reason. So, yeah. So a little brief about Jide. Jide, please can you introduce yourself so members of the community would know about you? I know you, so yeah, you can take it away, please.
All right. Let me just be sure that I'm very audible.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me very well?
Yeah, loud and clear.
All right. Thank you for the the first introduction.
You're welcome.
I'm really excited to, be your accountant.
Can you increase your voice more, Jide? I know you're an accountant. You guys are very. Now you talk. Can you increase your volume?
All right. It should be better now, right?
Kinda, not really, but
okay.
Kinda.
All right. So can I go ahead?
Yes, please take it away. People want to hear from you.
All right. Okay. My name is Obajide Ajao. Right. I am first. Sorry. Let me just get this properly. This should be fine. All right. So my name is Obajide Ajao. I am first a blessed and highly favored child of God, who has a degree in accounting from the prestigious Obafemi Awolowo University, Ife. I also have a designation as an associate member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. I have practice license. I have partnership license with two off-the-shelf accounting softwares that I use for small businesses. And pretty much over the years, I have been helping small businesses, small and growing businesses. I've been helping them understand better what stories their numbers tell them. So pretty much that's That's who I am. That's what I've been doing up till now.
Okay, fantastic. You do me a favor. You're gonna increase the momentum of your voice a bit so people can actually hear you, and obviously you can communicate, your will I say value to our target audience, in as much as I know you have it, but they do not. All right. So you've told us a bit about your background. You pretty much went to OAU, I don't know what you guys say, Ifeites, or what do you call
The
you guys?
prestigious, yeah, the
Oh,
prestigious,
my
yeah.
bad. The prestigious. Yeah. Obafemi Awolowo University. Okay. Um, so now let's get into the meat of the matter, right? So you've told us a bit about your background per se, but I really, really want to know more, especially for businesses that are looking to use your services. They need to be comfortable to know that you have the expertise where you say you currently play in. So can you tell us a bit about your background, and some of the businesses you've worked with, and you currently work with? Pretty much how you identify within this niche market.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm hoping that my voice is clearer now. Maybe I have to just put this up.
It
Okay,
is.
so I started my accounting journey in 2010. So probably, of course, that makes it like a decade of work experience so far.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. After NYSC, I was not that fortunate to get into, the big four. I didn't get into any multinational. I didn't get into the bank. So over this last 10 years, I've been working with small, businesses, SMEs. The first 2 years I did, it was with an interior decoration company. It was at that company that, I knew exactly that, practical accounting experience is totally is different from what
Yeah.
you get out of school. So
Absolutely.
it was totally a new experience for me. And, you would understand that, some people will, after NYSC, get into the big four, the corporate organizations, more structure. You find more structure there. But for me, it has been, small businesses over the years. And this particular one, I was introduced to what they call messy accounting. It was incomplete records. It was
Oh,
such a
wow.
mess, you know. So that was my first experience. I was like, wow, is this what I'm supposed to do? I was trying to match my theoretical knowledge with practical, knowledge. But then I had a bit of difficulty. It was a bit difficult. So I was fortunate enough to have an auditor I could quickly speak with. So I called the auditor, and the auditor just helped me, with some data, some templates that I needed to use, and then pretty much I moved forward from there. Um, that's 2 years. So I did 2 years in that company. Then I moved to a consulting firm. I did another 2 years in this consulting firm. Now, this was where I learned a lot about business organization, business process improvement.
Mm-hmm.
It was the place where I learned a lot about, first impression. As a consulting firm, first impression really matters to them.
Of
So
course.
it was a place I learned about, confidence. We had to
Yeah.
go out and interview people, do market research, talk to people
Yeah.
that you read, So that built a lot of, confidence and, um,
Nice.
um, um, you know, kind of first impression something inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was also at this consulting firm that I was introduced to what we now know as outsourced accounting service. So then we called it client accounting service, but of course outsourced. So at that time, we would, the office was at Lekki. We had clients all over the state, Yaba, VI, Aja, a lot of places over there. So we will need to go um, physically to the client's office, collect their manual accounting information, their documents and all of that, and then bring it over to our own office at Lekki office, and then, process the accounting information, and then eventually send it to the CEO then, and then we from there generate management reports where we send to the to the business owners. So I had a foundation. I mean, I was introduced to outsourced accounting there, and it became very interesting for me. So that was where I was opened up to what I am currently doing. So
Nice.
the interesting part now is that after that, after my stay with the consulting firm, I then
Mm-hmm.
moved to um, um, a cloud technology company. So this cloud technology company, then they were at Ikeja. I mean, it was at Ikeja then, and it was in this place that I was now introduced to what you call cloud technology, right?
Right.
So I've been doing manual accounting in the past. I've been visiting people, getting into their books, doing things manually and all of that. But this company where I spent 3 years, they opened me up to what it means to do things in the cloud, what it means to get things done online. Um, there's this thing we say about working, anywhere, at any time, and on any device. So it was at this company I was also introduced to accounting software. As a cloud technology company, of course, they could not just go with the manual accounting, processes. They had to automate it. So it was at that company that I learned a lot about accounting softwares, all of them in the cloud. I mean, you have
Fantastic.
Sage, you have Zero, you have Zoho Books, you have QuickBooks. It was there I learned all of these applications,
Very good.
and
Okay.
I used
Fantastic.
it, pretty much well. I used it well for the company, and then um, while I was still at the place, at the job, around
Mm-hmm.
2016, I just decided, okay, I was going to, take this further. And I started introducing the accounting applications to some business owners,
Okay.
those around my circle. So,
Mm-hmm.
it was interesting. They saw how exciting, how easy they could enter their data and just do their accounting on the software without me being physically with them, without
Mm-hmm.
them sending me huge loads of papers and all of that. And the referrals. I mean, this particular client started, referring me to other people, and so I just said, okay, I can make a business out of it. So, pretty much, this month will be my 5th year, right, in the
Jude, you
business
can
of
go on.
outsourcing.
Jude, you can go on. I'm just going to. You can go on. I just need to take a quick 5 seconds break. There's someone at my door. Okay, go on.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I was saying it was in this company, that I what was I saying? that I, you know, um, pretty much just um, started um, the outsourced accounting services. So I was saying that, yeah, that this month would actually be my 5th year, in the business of running an outsourced accounting service. And I saw that there's the need. Businesses need to keep their books. And in fact, as at that time, once you register your business, it is a legal requirement for you to keep your books of account. It is statutorily required. So the need is there. And in fact, the need is still there. I still have so many people, just, a lot of businesses accounts are in a mess. And, I think the aim here for this meeting is, if we are starting a new business, if you're someone who is very skillful, you want to start something new, just make sure you want to avoid being in a situation, in a messy situation, you know, at
Right.
the very near future. So you want to make
Okay.
sure that you want to do the right things, from day one. You have your
Fantastic. All right.
business,
So I'm just gonna jump
you
in
know
there
what.
real quick because we are taking a very long time. We are taking a really, really long time. It's 30 minutes already into the session and we have barely gotten started. So
Oh,
so what are the basic accounting requirements for small businesses? What are the basic accounting requirements for small business? What are those things that you see that this needs to be absolutely there for small businesses?
hmm. Okay. So well, um, first we should define what bookkeeping is. So, of course, I'm looking at the time and where time is gone. So, bookkeeping, in my definition, you know, is the diligence, that a business owner employs to
Mm-hmm.
keep track of the business transactions. So it's the
Okay.
diligence that you employ in keeping track of your business transactions. Now, in Nigeria, I mean, entrepreneurs today, business owners, we have a lot of skill. Um, the issue is just that we're not that diligent, or sometimes we're not disciplined. So when we're talking about skillful people, I mean, even the scripture says, you see a man who is diligent, and skillful in his work, in his enterprise, he will stand before
Mm-hmm.
kings. And you know, with this skill, we need to ensure that we are also diligent. Diligence is, a careful, being careful,
Mm-hmm.
doing things in a careful and consistent manner. So in this our context, right, about bookkeeping, every business owner needs to be careful and consistent in keeping track of their business transactions. It is very important. Now, if I would just go ahead, why do you want to keep your books? You know, the number one rule, which I always also say, is in bookkeeping is to keep everything. So don't assume that the receipt that you got here or there is not necessary. You need to keep everything. So you just ask yourself, why do I want to keep my books? Why? So I want to mention three reasons. So number one, you want to keep your records because you want to be able to control your cash. You, excuse me, you really want to know from day one where your money is coming from and where your money is going to. So you want to be able to control your cash. Reason two, you want to keep your records because you want to be able to measure your business performance. How has your business performed? I mean, you want to know it yourself. In this light, I mean, there are two, uh, let's say, internal stakeholders and external stakeholders. When you start your
Mm-hmm.
business, you should know that, right?
Yeah.
Internal stakeholders, your employees, your board of directors, they want to know how your
Mm-hmm.
business is doing. External stakeholders, you have the government, you have external regulatory bodies, they want to also know how your business is doing. So the onus is on you. You need to keep your books to be able to measure your business performance, whether you want to know it just for yourself or you want to give it to other bodies to view how your business is doing. And number three, you need to keep your books because you want to be able to plan for the future. It is a good thing when you have some documents, some track record on ground. You know what you have done in the past years, or currently you know what you have done. Now, writing all of these things down also helps you to plan into the future. So why do I want to keep my books? I want to be able to plan into the future properly. Projections are done based on some certain educated assumptions. Things that you have also written down will help guide that educated assumption. So you want to three things. You want to make sure you keep your books, you keep your records, because you want to be able to control your cash. You want to be able to measure your business performance, and you want to be able to plan for the future. Now, those are the reasons why you need to keep your books. Now, if there's still time, I can now go ahead to just, explain to the business owners, if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a budding entrepreneur, um, if I can go ahead, I can just list out the things
Go
that
ahead, please.
every
I
business
hear.
owner needs to understand. Can I go ahead?
Yes, that's why you're here. Please shoot.
All right. Okay, great. So we'll be as fast as possible, and I'm hoping that you really capture, what I'm about to say. Now,
Or they'll
as a
just watch
business
it again.
owner, you really don't need to understand everything about accounting. You really don't need to understand everything about accounting. Um, it's just like me, for example. I mean, when I know some things I need to do to maintain my car on a daily basis. I'm not an engineer. I'm not an auto engineer, something like that. But I know what to do to keep my car in good condition. The same thing with entrepreneurs, business owners. There are some things you need to just know um, to carry on your business successfully. A lot of time I get people say, Jide, I'm not an accountant. I'm not an accountant. I don't expect you to be, but you need to understand the flow of your transactions. Now, I'll say first that you need to organize your books. Now, in organizing your books, how do you do this? Um, my advice is to get an accounting software. In this our age, it shouldn't be a very new thing to anybody. It's all over. You go online, you see, use this cloud accounting system, either developed in Nigeria or outside, off the shelf, whatever. Just get an accounting software. Now, once you have done that, right, you can now decide to either do the bookkeeping yourself or you want to hire somebody to do it for you. I have so many, I mean, there are people who don't have a lot of transactions. They can quickly get a hold of the software. You don't need to know the backstage of the software. You don't need to know how it works. All you need to do is to learn how to put in your data into the software, even if it is a spreadsheet template. But I really strongly recommend a software. So just put in your data. Once you have put in your data, the software will be able to generate all the reports you want, all the financial reports that should be generated. The software will generate it for you. All you just need to do is to enter the right data. Now, you can either do it yourself if you are still starting up, you want to grow and you still have some time with you, you can do it yourself. Now, when you start getting to the place where the volume is increasing, volume of transaction is increasing, you can now, outsource it. Now, there are two ways to outsource. You either give it to an accounting service firm. I mean, today there are so many outsourced accounting services all around. You can just go ahead and choose one that you can really trust, the one that you're comfortable with. Just work with that person, and just tell them, okay, I can afford your fee. This is take your fee, and they will help you do all of these things. So they would not just do data entry, they will do your bookkeeping and they will do additional accounting services for you, right? So if you're a small business, you either want to do it yourself or you are outsourcing it to someone to do it for you. Now, if you're doing it yourself, it's also advised that you can, if you
You can
don't
go on,
have
Jide.
the,
I'll just take a minute, but please go on. I'll take a minute,
okay,
but
all
please
right.
go on.
All right. So if you don't have an accountant, you can, if you cannot afford to outsource, you can just get an accounting friend, someone who is your friend, who knows a friend that is an accountant, maybe works, maybe has a paid job somewhere, and you can just meet the person. Just call a meeting, probably over a box of pizza, and just have a meeting with the person. Tell the person, oh, this is my business. This is what I want to do. I know that I need to get my books in order. I have gotten an accounting system, and I have learned how to do data entry. Or even if you don't want to do it yourself, but like I said, you're a startup. Do it yourself for now if you cannot afford to pay, an accounting service firm. So you want to ask the person, please, at the end of the month, I'm going to bring my accounting to you, and you're just going to help me do a little review. Check if what I have done is fine. Check if I am still on the right track, and just help me. So the person is able to, because it's an accounting software based in the cloud. You are able to add extra users into your accounting software, and then the person can from wherever they are. The person can have view of what you're doing. They can point out to you what you're doing correctly. They can point out to you where things are not being done properly. So, and they will guide you. So those are the two things you need to. The two things you need to do first: get an accounting software, and then make sure you either do it yourself diligently or you outsource it to someone to do it for you. Now, the second thing I would like to say is to, categorize your books. Like I said, you really don't need to understand everything about accounting system, how it works, and all of that. All you just need to do is to, put the right data in the right place. Now, as a business owner, there are 5 types of accounts, right, that you should understand. Whether you might not go into the details of all of these things, but you really want to understand these 5 types of accounts. Your bookkeeping, right? All the transactions that you have, everything flows into these 5 accounts. Once your transactions, get into these 5 accounts, they can then produce your income statement, your cash flow, your balance sheet. Now, the 5 accounts are your revenue, your expenses, your assets, your liabilities, and your equity. These 5 things, you really need to, know them maybe not in detail, but just know them. Revenue, expenses, assets, liabilities, and equity. Now, let me talk a little bit about revenue. So, for example, you have gotten an accounting software. Now, remember, what you're trying to do is you want to make sure as you're starting your business, you remain successful and you remain sustainable. So, what are the things that you will do in your bookkeeping, in your accounting activities that will help you remain sustainable and help your business to become successful? Let's talk about revenue, for example, as the first type of account, revenue. Now, your accounting software, you're able to, automatically, you just get to create your invoices in a professional looking manner. You send your invoices out. Once you create an invoice, of course, the accounting magic happens, right? Wherever it will debit and credit, you don't need to understand all of that. But the system will capture that for you. All you need to do is to put in the data correctly. Put in what you're selling. When you have sent the invoice out, the invoice, you can directly send the invoice from your accounting software and it gets to the person. When the person makes payment, whether part payment or full payment, you get to record it. Now, when you record payment too, whatever you are debiting, whatever you are crediting, the software will do that for you. All you need to do is to record the payments correctly. Record which bank it was paid into, record the date it was paid. Just put in the data correctly. And let me give you a few scenarios. So, for example, I have an automobile mechanic who, for example, he creates his invoice. He creates an invoice to a client and then sends the invoice for servicing the client's vehicle. And then this CEO knows that every 3 months is supposed to service that car. And so, you can, in the software, how beautiful the software is, right? In the software, you can just automatically set a reminder that, after 3 months, send this invoice to this particular client. And once the client gets it, for example, it's 3 months now, and then the client gets the invoice. The client is excited. He calls the mechanic and says, "Wow, I just got your invoice. Thank you very much. You know what? Come and pick the vehicle. I will transfer the money to you and, bring back my car by 3 p.m. so that I can get back to work." So probably the client has forgotten that he needed to service his vehicle. But because my auto mechanic has done, he's doing his books properly, he's able to, generate more business, it looks excellent, to the client. It's an excellent thing, for my mechanic to send me an invoice and then, also reminds me that I need to service my car. So remember, we're trying to build businesses that remain sustainable and businesses that become successful. I give you another example. I have a client in the photography business. After recording all the invoices, we're still talking about revenue. Recording all the invoices, he's also able to itemize, oh, how much am I making from portraits, from wedding photography, from product photography, and all of that. At the end of the year, for example, this man comes around and says, Jide, generate my top 10 customers. Right in the software, you are able to pull out your top 10 customers. And, this person made a decision using the top 10 customers. That decision was who is going to get the AMPA and who does not get the AMPA. So your software helps you to do all of that. I mean, there's another client in the that I have in the travel agency. Again, after recording all of the invoices and all of that, the CEO is able to, at the end of the month, come back to the accounting software. He pulls out a report and says, how my salespeople done? So he's able to generate sales per customer, per salesperson. So this also helps this client to, generate, determine the commission that he's supposed to pay his staff. So what are we trying to do again? We're trying to ensure that we're doing the right things right from day one. We don't want to wait till when we get to a very messy situation before we get all of these things right. And your accounting software, your accounting processes, don't just look at it as an expense. It is an investment that also leads to, the growth of your business. So people look at accountants as an expense, but no, it's an investment. There are so many things that we can help you achieve just by analyzing, interpreting your numbers. So
Judy,
that's
I'm just going to add some more things there. First and foremost, if you have any questions, please type in your questions. So Judy answers the questions while either at the end of the session or while he's still speaking on some of these things. I personally, like for those that were not here at the beginning, Jide actually serves as the accountant and bookkeeper for my organization, which is Pandora Agency, and is meticulous in what he does. He's super, super meticulous, and I find that hard to say about a lot of consultants really in the service-based industry. So it's someone I highly recommend. And it does not matter if you are even selling thrift items. It does not matter. Keep your books excellently well. I know before I got the courage to say, oh, okay, let's even hire an accountant, which is about 2 years ago or about a year ago. I had an Excel sheet. I'm a very structured person. I've always been a structured person. So I had an Excel sheet on my laptop or my mobile phone. Any company expense went to that. Even my personal expense still dates. That's the way I do them. It just makes you more accountable. You know where your money is going to. You know what you're spending frivolously on and what you should be spending on less, and so on and so forth. So it's very advised that even if you're not on that grand scale that you want to be yet, it starts with now. That proverb of saying that, I think it's even in Bible, what you give, what you have when you have 1,000, you still do the same when you have a million, or something like that. Okay, it's not in the Bible, a million. So that principle still applies. So it's just, I wanted to just chip that in, and please feel free to drop your questions, and Jay, please go on.
All right, thank you very much. We've had quite some time together and it's been a very good experience. So let's just move on. So I was talking about 5 things that every business owner should really understand in their business. Just understand it. Revenue, expenses, assets, liabilities, and equity. As a new business, you want to make sure that you understand all of these things. Not the details, but at least on the workings of these types of accounts. We have talked about revenue. We've given a scenario, different scenarios of how businesses are using the accounting software to help them grow their business to remain sustainable and successful. Now, let's go to the second point.
Julie, before you go on, to keep account of all the questions so you don't keep scrolling back and forth, please use the question tag. There's a question tag. Okay, just use that question tag. So once we move there, all the questions are itemized, and so we don't keep going back and forth, so we don't lose any questions. All right. Please go on, Julia. Apologies.
All right. So expenses. We're talking about expenses now. Now,
Yes.
because this is just a bookkeeping class, right? Bookkeeping session. There's the expenses that are called your cost of sales and your operating expenses, right? So, cost of sales, there's so many things. If, once you get an accountant, you can get more details about how to do your costing, pricing, and all of that. And then the operating expenses, every other thing to run your business. Now, the point here I want to raise here, as a new business, you want to follow this principle when you are incurring an expense for your business. There's a principle, there's a test that we usually conduct, which is called WREN test, WREN. It's called, this is like you telling yourself, is this expense wholly? Is it reasonably? Is it exclusively? Is it necessarily, incurred in generating the profit of your business? The expense must be wholly, reasonably, exclusively, and necessarily incurred in generating profit for your business. If that test is not met, it is not a business expense. One of the things we have also been preaching and mentioning here and there is, as a business owner, please treat your business as an entity on its own. You want to separate your lifestyle from the business. Keep your personal expenses away from the business. It is very important. Now, even if you don't keep it away from your business, right, at least be very truthful with your accountant and let him know exactly what you have done with this money, so that he can know where to properly categorize it, he or she. So I give you an example, a quick example. I had a client in the beauty salon industry, for example, and then the person came around. Of course, when people come around like that, it's either they needed something. Hey, I need TCC. Hey, I need to get a loan. Hey, somebody wants to invest in my business, and the idea they come with is, I need TCC. Just help me get my books done. But like I said, the reason why we want to keep our books is because you yourself want to know how your business is performing. Now, I met with this salon CEO, and then, Jide, I cannot afford you. My business is not making so much money. No, I can't. This and this and that. I said, well, I won't judge. I won't make a decision based on what you have just told me. Let's do a test. And I said, give me your bank statement. Give me 3 months bank statement, and let me just analyze it. And I got it. Again, unfortunately, or maybe she had like 5 bank accounts. Why do you have 5 bank accounts? Oh, people come into the salon, they have different bank accounts, POS and all of that. Okay, fine. Just give me 2 banks. Let me start with that. And then I got the banks. I looked at the transactions. Most of these transactions, just to cut the story short, most of these transactions are most of them are personal expenses. When I find a transaction and I go back to ask her, what is this? What is this? It's either she cannot remember. I said, but it's just the last 3 months. She can't remember. So as a new business, you really don't want to get to that position where you're not keeping track of your records, and then somebody comes to ask you, you say you don't know what that is. It's your bank, and you're telling me you don't know what the transaction is for. There's some other transactions I saw that are actually for a personal, life. You see in the bank account, the company bank account, you're paying for your kids' school fees, you're paying for cutting your son's hair, you're paying for, things that are very personal. So, and, like I said, of course, the relationship didn't last so long because I had to tell the truth. And that's why I always say that whoever you're getting as your accountant, you need to be very, open and very, you need to be open with the person. You need to be real with the person. It has to be someone that can talk to you and, agree, disagree, and then just find whatever you need to do. Before I leave the expense category, I talk about another client, another CEO. He works with the financial institutions and all of that. So this one also does not check his book on a monthly basis. No. Instead, he waits end of the year. And what happened last year? CEO, I need to do your books for last year. Can you please give me the transactions? Unfortunately, the man lost his laptop. And I said, wow, you lost your laptop. Okay, at least you would have saved it in the cloud or your online storage and all of that. He said, no. Wow. All of his transactions, all of his expenses that he has written down, everything lost. And he says he wants his financial report for 2020. I said, am I a magician? How do you expect me to know what you have spent money on? So, that's what brings about when you now hear people cooking the books up, writing up books, just
Of
cooking something,
course.
and then, which you as a new business, you really don't want to get into that situation. If we are
No.
shouting now that, embrace technology, I mean, we are millennials. I mean, we're techie people. Just get into the tech world. You just embrace technology. Keep your documents online, keep it offline, keep it online, whichever one. But you cannot tell me in this age that you lost your documents. I mean, so that's for expense. I mean, a lot of other scenarios, but the idea is separate yourself from the business. Keep every business expense as business. Let it be business. If we need to agree salary with you, let us agree. If we need to agree what allowances you'll be taking, let us agree. Don't just take money just like that. For the saloon business, I told her when I reclassified all our transactions, I said, Madam, can you see that your business is actually profitable? And which is
Wow.
something I also believe for Nigerian businesses. They are profitable. Businesses in Nigeria are profitable. Believe me, well, my opinion, they are profitable. It's just that, you now hear them coming to say, I don't know where my cash is. I don't know. I'm not making money. It's a lie. Well, I'm just
Wow.
being blunt. You have taken the money. You have taken it. I mean, a business that is making revenue of so amount and then the business is funding your very huge lifestyle. No, I know if you're working in a job, you're the CEO, but if you're working in a job, you'll be paid so huge amount. I know, but this business that you have started, we cannot afford to pay you that huge amount now. Bear with us. So just see that business as that. I mean, we want to grow businesses that will that will outlive us. We want. I mean, look at very nice examples. Mrs. Awoshika, Mrs. Jirotoye. Look at the businesses they have grown and how it has multiplied and all of that. We want to have that mentality of building businesses that will outlive us and that will change the lives of others around us. So that's one thing. Um, I mentioned the first thing, which is revenue. You need to understand the workings of your revenue. You need to know how it will help you grow your business. Expenses, you need to separate yourself from the business. Have a bank account, agree on salaries that we're going to pay you. Just keep every receipt that you get. Keep everything, document everything. And so let's move to the third point, the third type of account, which is asset. Now, you also just want to make sure as you are starting your business, you understand this, that when you buy a laptop, you need to keep a receipt for that laptop. This is a bookkeeping class. There are other accounting professionals, auditors that will come and tell you. You see that receipt that you have kept. There is what government will give you. They call it capital allowance. Now, how do you want to claim capital allowance if you don't even have a receipt for the asset that you
Yeah.
have that you said you have bought? So you really want to keep a register. You want to list out what you have bought. The amount you bought it, the date you bought it. If you have different locations, put the location of the asset. Keep it in a file and make sure that document is there, accessible anytime. Also, put it in your software. These softwares can even depreciate your assets automatically for you. You put in your asset, register it on the software. The asset will create an asset register for you. The software will depreciate your asset for you. You don't need to worry about the meaning of depreciation. Just put in the parameters, just type in the percentage, and the software will do the rest for you. So let me give an example. I have a client in the photography industry too, and these photographers, they invest a lot in asset, So for this CEO, being able to list out all his assets, it helps him because he knows his depreciation. And then, if you know your depreciation, you also know exactly how to factor in all of this expense into your cost before you now price your services. So for this photography CEO, right, he knows what the cost is. He knows that this depreciation has to be factored in. So he has a list. Now, The second thing that helps him to achieve is he maintains an insurance policy, right? So you're a new business. I mean, I have another e-commerce business that just started, and it's surprising. They are millennials, and the thing they're telling me, Jide, even if we cannot afford you, let us get the software. Jide, another thing, we have not started so much. We have started buying assets. Please get an insurance person for us. I was like, wow. I'm glad to hear this, even if you're not paying me yet, right? But I'm glad that you know that you need to put all of these things in place. In fact, this e-commerce business already set up a board, right? So all of these things, you know, you need to start putting them in the right perspective now. So for the photographer, it helps him to depreciate his assets properly, and then it also helps him maintain an insurance policy. I have a client in the restaurant industry. I was engaged, and then of course I met a very messy account. It was very messy, very very messy. And the next thing, I'm trying to put things together. Food costing is not even done properly. Inventory is not done properly. I mean, they have bin cards. The staff are not even well trained to use the bin cards, and the assets. I mean, this business has like 3 different locations, assets everywhere. The kitchen assets, kitchen equipment, and everything. And then I asked for asset register. There's no list. There's nothing. This outlet, this outlet, this outlet, nothing. I couldn't get anything.
No receipts. No
No
receipts
receipt,
as well.
nothing.
Wow.
I said, okay, can you get me some receipt? Oh, the receipts are in that office. We went to the office. We couldn't find anything. Those ones said, madam, you kept it in your house. Okay, but I can't find it in my house. And I'm like, oh my good Lord. No receipt. So I said, okay, you know what we'll do? Let's just do a physical verification of all the assets, and then we now have to start going to Jumia, Kunga. I mean, all of these people to get prices. I mean, what's that? And then the next thing, unfortunately, some of these things, you think that you will even be able to trace it to the bank, but no, you find a situation where they withdraw bulk money, and then you now spend that bulk money. Spending the bulk money, you buy assets, you buy this, you buy food materials, you buy, this and that and this and that. So the bank cannot even tell me exactly when so asset was bought. I can't know from the bank account. And then all of a sudden, funny thing, this CEO just woke up one morning and said, hey, I need my balance sheet. I said, how do you expect me to get a balance sheet for you? My goodness, how? I said, I cannot get you any balance sheet, man. I'm very sorry. You will have to still just be calm and let us finish whatever we have started. Accounting is a process. You don't have a messy account today because you have paid me tomorrow, and then you expect me to generate your report for you the next day, the next
Magic.
tomorrow. No, it won't happen. So it won't happen like that. It has to be a process, and you, the CEO, the business owner, you have to be involved. This is one of the things that I've been shouting this year, for example. You have to be involved. In this particular example, I call the CEO. She's in Afghanistan today, Russia tomorrow, here and there. But you're not giving attention to what the accountant is doing. And which is why I also now start saying, do your accounting with the accountant. Don't leave it to the accountant to do it. Do it with him and just understand a little bit of this and this little bit of that. So that when they call you, somebody calls you, you don't start looking for, let me call my accountant. Let me ask him.
Let me pitch in real quick with regards to that. For people that are looking to start their businesses, or people that have existing business, I cannot tell you. Forget the fact that I'm a structured person and I've always loved structures and keeping books and all that. Forget that fact. You need it if you're looking to get investors on board. They need to know that you know your onions about your books. It's not about hey, let me call my accountant. Yes, you can call him about maybe things that I did deeper. Let me give you an example. Remember, Jude, when Pandora, when we were looking at, in the month of March, which was just last month, we're looking at, we were properly looking to get investors into the company. And Jude was asking me some questions. In fact, he was making some statement. I was giving him back the answer because I literally had studied, okay, so this is what an investor will want to see. This is what an investor will want to see for my books. And I knew this day was going to come, literally, when I started the business. Because if you're looking to scale a business, you cannot be having that one-man business mindset. No. Eliminate it from your mind. So from the get-go, please, your books, it can be an Excel sheet. We are talking about a software, maybe 40K or 50K. that is an investment. If, as far as I'm concerned, at first I didn't see it as an investment. I would not go fussy about that. I did not see it as an investment. I thought that okay, because I'd used another software, another accounting software company that was completely messed up and it was super expensive. Sage One or whatever it was. It was so cumbersome for someone like me that I do not even like maths. All right, but Jide introduced, you know, another accounting software to my company. I'm like, okay, so Jide, I'll invest 40K into this accounting software. I hope it's going to be better and more user friendly than the Sage One, you know, because I just wanted a software whereby it's just easy. You know, I don't know maths. I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm not a maths person. I'm a marketing person, not a maths person. So I wanted a software that was very, very, very easy. And I got that with Zoho Books. And I think to me, they're one of the best, really. Sejong has the name, has the perception, but Zoho Books really, it breaks it down for non-accountants, really. And yeah, I just wanted to share that. Julie, please, the floor is yours again.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, like we said earlier, you know, external stakeholders, your investors, they need to know how your business is performing. So you need to have an idea of all of these things. Thank you for sharing that too. Very insightful. All right, so 5 things we started with. We said, as a business owner, you need to know your revenue, your expenses, your assets. Then we're going to move on to liabilities and equity. Now, for liabilities, let's talk about the software again. I said earlier, you just need to enter data. So the software is also able to, when you get a bill from a supplier, record the date, record the supplier invoice number, record what you have purchased, put it in the right account. If you don't know what account to put things to, I mean, I have a client right now in the construction industry. He goes to site and then comes back. He wants to put in his data entry. He wants to do it. You know, he's interested. He's eager. So, Jide, I know your fee is, I cannot afford you, but I'm willing to be a part of the process. I said, okay, help me help you. So once you get home, you know, just type in, put a good description of what you have bought, the receipt of the bags of cement, the blocks of this and that. Put it properly in the description section. And then I created an account for him called My Expenses. So he's just able to post the transaction into My Expenses. So what I get to do is, maybe on a weekly basis, I come into his account, I look at the description, I help him, you know, allocate those transactions into the right categories. And of course, the software is also able to help you determine profitability on your project. So if you have project A, B, C, you want to know how much has gone into project A, how much you have spent on project A, how much income you have gotten from project A, and the profit. So the guy is happy. He runs construction projects here and there. He's happy to know that, oh, this is what I've made on this. This is what I've made on this. Now, we're still talking about liabilities. So the software is able to record all of these transactions for you. Now, when you record a bill from a supplier, you either pay the bill fully or you part pay. The software will tell you when you have part paid. It will remind you if you have a payment terms whatsoever with the supplier. You know, everything is just automated. You, at a glance, you see who you are owing, you know, in terms of suppliers, which helps you manage your, you know, liabilities section properly, because under account payable, you will see your vendors that you have not paid and all of that. Now, that's for that. Now, the second thing, you know, value-added tax is also a liability. Like I said earlier, under revenue, you have recorded your income. Now, pre-Finance Act, before the new Finance Act, you know, we all had to include VAT in our invoices and all of that. So, you know, at that time, when you create your invoice, you put your VAT, the VAT account, the VAT amount is automatically placed under the liability section. You know, for you, you don't need to worry about it. All you need to do is to put in your VAT. The liability is computed for you. And then at the end of the month, you go into your liability section, you know exactly how much VAT you are owing. Don't take your VAT as cash flow. It is not cash flow. Pay it immediately. You know, pay it immediately. That way you save yourself for stories that touch. You know, you save yourself. But, you know, our target audience right now, they're new businesses, you know, people who just want to get this started. The new Finance Act exempts you from charging VAT and paying VAT and all of that. But what you need to know as a new business is, as soon as you get your certificate, go and register with the tax office. get your VAT registration letter. Go and get it.
So you're
You know,
talking
it's very
about the
important.
CAC certificate, right? As soon as they get the CAC certificate. Yes.
Say that again.
You mentioned certificates. I need a clarification. What certificates? As soon as they get what certificate?
Okay, so as soon as you get your incorporation certificate, right? Of course, these days you now have your TIN stated on it. Now, the fact that you have your TIN does not mean you should just sit down and do nothing. You need to look for where that TIN is domiciled. So look for the tax office and go and register with them. Write a letter to them. This is me. I want to get the VAT registration letter. Now, excuse me. The reason for saying this is that you see some new businesses who want to get projects, and most likely if you are going to meet a ShopRite, for example, a multinational, for example, and they start asking you for evidence of VAT registration letter, TCC, and you're now at that point you're running here and there just because you don't have them immediately. So that's the reason. If you're starting up now, go and get your VAT registration letter, file it, put it in your your document, in your financial document. You should have a file, put it there. The same thing goes for TCC. The fact that you are just registered, it makes it even easier. You can apply for your TCC and then put it in your file. You know, that also creates a mindset for you to know that, okay, at the end of another financial year, you need to go back to the tax office to tell them how you have done. You know, that's a lot of tax matters and all of that. So, so for liabilities, we're just talking about VAT, and we're saying for new businesses, that might not be an issue for you. But what will be an issue for you that you should consider is your state tax. So if you're getting staff, for example, you want to make sure, because payroll tax is a liability as well. Once you pay your salaries, the software can also generate pay slip for you. It can generate your pay slip. It will post all the liabilities to the liability account and all of that. So for payroll tax, you want to be able to make sure that you have agreed with the staff from day one. This is your gross amount. This is your net amount, meaning that I would have deducted payroll tax and I will pay it to the government. You need to let whoever you're going to employ, let them know from day one that you are a very compliant business and you just want to do these things right. So let your staff know. It won't be that, okay, you have agreed 50,000 for somebody, and then all of a sudden after 2 years or 1 year, you're coming back to tell him, oh, I got into tax mess and then I have to start deducting. And then the person is like, you agreed 50K with me. Don't come and now tell me that you want to deduct something. Look at the news they just told us. Inflation rate is now, what they call it, 18% or so. And you want to cut my salary again. Oh, no, please don't do that, So you want to make sure that from day one, you have all these liabilities in the right perspective, so that you don't miss out on any tax deadline at all. If you're paying them less than 30,000 naira, then you are exempted. You don't need to pay tax on them. Fine. So all of these things, including loans, your liability section also shows your loan. I have a client in the fashion industry, for example, because she's able to keep her books properly, she was able to get this loan from this fashion-friendly bank. I'm sure we know the fashion-friendly bank. She was able to get the loan. And, keeping her books, she was able to plan ahead, on when to make the repayment. We're able to do cash flow planning, and we paid the loan fully. And we had to go back again for some reasons to get another loan, and they gave us like almost immediately, because they looked at the track record that, okay, this person has been doing this person, and they gave the
that's
loan
what people don't
again.
think about. That's what people don't think
Yeah.
about, things like that. Once you do it
Yeah.
and you do it well and you pay, it is not your money. They gave you a loan. It is not your national cake. Pay it back.
Pay it back.
It's true, because
Plan
most
for it.
businesses think that, oh yay, I happen to have gotten a loan. I got a share of the national cake. Sweetie, it is not a national cake. Coming from someone that has worked in the financial sector, there is something they call credit bureau. The credit bureau, your name will fall under the credit bureau. And it does not just apply to Nigeria. It does not just apply to Africa. It applies globally. You relocate to Canada, you want to get a
We
loan,
find you there.
they see your name under the credit bureau, you're not getting the loan, and you're probably going to get arrested. So let's stop that mentality that I get a loan, I'm getting the national cake. There's no national cake. Go and buy a cake.
Yeah, correct. Correct. It's interesting. This is the joy that I've also been deriving working with small businesses. I have a lot of stories, a lot that I've seen, and it just makes me laugh. And then the joy is that, when I see business owners who really want to comply, I'm excited and I'm willing to work with them to make sure that, they comply. Again,
I
what we
hope
are
I'm
trying to
right in
achieve
that list,
is
but yeah, go on.
is to have what we're trying to achieve is to have a sustainable business and a very successful business.
Absolutely.
Bef- Before we get to the last one, which is equity, one thing about liabilities. So, I said VAT is also a liability, VAT payable and all of that. So I have a client also. The joy he derives is that, once once a client pays on his invoice, um, I'm also like an accountability partner to most of my CEOs. I talk what they want. They most likely don't want to hear at different times. I will talk it. I will say, So, this person has paid fully on this invoice. We need to have a plan. We cannot just keep avoiding, saying we cannot pay VAT and all of that. The customer has paid. Let's even leave the fact that some customers ignore the VAT and so many other complications with tax matters and all of that. Once the client has paid, you see that VAT amount, let us take it out and put it into this particular bank account. So that when GD comes at the end of the month and I present the bank and the management report to you, you see your liability section, you see how much VAT you're owing, I know that that money is in the bank account. So I can just go and pick it from the bank account, pay it to the government and move on. It is when people don't do this on time, that's when VAT now becomes a problem. And then that's when you now start hearing people say, what is the government doing for me? What is this? What is that? First, play your own part. Play your part. Whether we like it or not, it is our businesses, right? The businesses that we are growing that is adding to the economic power of Nigeria. It is not government that will provide the job. It is, we, the people, we are very skillful people. So with your skill, be diligent in keeping your books and,
I like that.
grow your business. Grow your business. So I think let me just end that with, let me end on that note for liabilities. The last one will be your equity. Now, under equity, this is where you have your share capital, retained earnings, and all of that. Now, you really don't need this section. Just know what it is. But then, what I would say is, let me give an example. So, for, there's seed capital. Okay, I have this client CEO in, she's in the security space, safety and security space. And, she's always applying for loans and grants and, seed capital funding here and there. And the last one she wants to get another one, right? And one of the questions in the questions asked was, give us a list of the previous grants that you have collected, that you have received here and there, here and there. It was just easy. It was a click of a button, and we went to the balance sheet, and it was well stated. Monies that they got from, we get, people got money from, for example, Tony Elumelu Foundation is a grant, seed capital, monies that have been given you. Just, it's able for, she was just able to, at a click of a button, see how, all the grants that she has collected over the years and just pull out the information, and she gave it to, the people requesting for it. So, 5 things we talked about quickly. We talked about revenue. We gave examples. We talked about expenses. We talked about your assets. We talked about liabilities. We talked about equity. So, see, all of these things, right? Your financial transactions, your day-to-day transactions, they flow into these 5 accounts. If you cannot do it yourself, outsource to someone. These outsourced accounting services are actually they're affordable. So just like has been said, don't see it as an expense. It's an investment, and then make sure you get somebody that you can talk to, somebody that you trust, somebody that you won't send a mail to today, and the response will be in 1 month. After 1 month, get an accountant that you can talk to quickly, and just
They'll send you
get this
WhatsApp
sorted.
message. WhatsApp messages around 3 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, get an accountant like that.
So yeah, so for me, for example, I have clients, I have different types of CEOs, right? The midnight ones, the early morning ones, the afternoon ones, the daytime ones. I mean, they can wake me up at any time, and I'll have to just, you know what, Jide, you're also still awake. Well, I'm still awake because I have to do this, I have to do that, and then I have my time. I used to relax, but then it's also an ethics. I
It
have
has
my
to
time
be a
to relax, I
balance.
have my time to work. So there's a balance here. So I'm not stressed out in any way. No, why should I? And so I should also mention the last thing that you should consider. We have talked about organizing your books. We have talked about categorizing your books, which is understanding the 5 accounts. The last one should be close your books. Close your books. Now, at the end of every month, you want to be able to perform what you call reconciliation. Reconcile all your bank accounts. Make sure that it tallies. Make sure that everything is in place. And even the software, you're able to lock the software once you have conducted a particular reconciliation for a month. Lock the software, print out the reconciliation statement, and just know that that month is done. So nobody goes back to the month to adjust something or something. Just make sure, if you can't do it monthly, do it quarterly. And when you do it quarterly, you can also create backups. So there are some older generations that, Jide, this cloud thing, this and this and that. I said, it's simple. These softwares also allow you to generate soft copy of your transactions. Just create a backup, generate a backup and save it on your drive. Save it somewhere so that you have it there. And the last thing should be file all of these documents. You should have a folder in your office, even though we keep saying we are paperless and paperless. See, I have some tax letters with me, recently from the tax office for some clients, right? And what they're asking, they want to see paper documents. They want to see your invoices. They want to see your payment vouchers. They want to see this, that, this, that. So keep your documents for at least a period of time. You can do it quarterly. Keep your financial documents, your payee receipts, your VAT receipt, your employee letters, your incorporation documents, your HR documents, your tax documents. Keep everything and probably just label it every quarter. Just quarter 1, 2021, all your documents. Quarter 2, 2021, put it there. Quarter 3, quarter 4, just keep it in a file. So that when the tax authorities, right,
Julie, your volume
they
is
usually
going
come
low.
with.
Okay.
All right. So, you need to, I was saying that you need to keep all of these files, all of these documents properly so that now tax letters, everybody, you don't just get tax letters just anytime, any day. But when it comes, you are ready for it. So when they ask you for your bank statements, you can just easily show them. They ask you for your evidence of VAT payments. They ask you for your payroll schedule. They ask you for this and that. You have all of these documents printed out and saved in a file so that you can access it whenever they come. Your tax accountant or your auditor will also be, happy. And in fact, your audit bill can reduce, if they see that, oh, you've been very compliant as a small business, and this is how you grow. This is how you sustain your business. This is how you
Fantastic.
become successful.
Fantastic.
I
All
think
right.
I think that's
To
fine.
wrap up this session, I have a couple of questions I still want to ask you, such as what has been some of your most profound lessons, while you started off your accounting firm. What lessons have you learned from other businesses? And also, I know you touched on the regulatory bodies tied to business accounting. If you can just reiterate that would be fantastic. And also, I think that's it. That would pretty much wrap up that particular section in terms of the questions.
I heard the first question correctly, which is, what are the lessons I have learned working with other businesses? Um, the second question, maybe I'll just ask that later on. So, like I said earlier, it's a thing of joy for me. Um, when I work with, with the people I've worked with so far, some clients will come, some will go. I really am not also interested in working with everybody, right? I can't work with everybody. And again, one of the things I, pride myself, in what I tell my CEOs, I said, I want to work in a way that when I have helped you to build some structure, some form of financial sense into your business, and I'm looking at the numbers, I'm interpreting it, I'm seeing that you're growing, I will also even be the one to advise you to get a full-time sit-down accountant at some point. So you should know that I might leave you there will be a time I'll just have to leave your business. Probably because you have grown so much that you really don't need, you need a CFO kind of person to now sit in your business to manage activities. I've had clients who I have experienced that with. For example, I've had a client in the agricultural sector. I came on board, and then the next thing, I was the one who advised them, right? You know what? You number of accountants, you need one CFO, you need one bookkeeper, you need this, you need that, to continue your smooth operation. So um, different kinds of CEOs that I have worked with. Some have also been very impactful in my business, so I've grown relationship with them such that they don't just see me as, keeping their numbers or this or that. They come to me, we talk about their own business, we advise each other, they talk about my own business as well, and they also, one of the last things somebody mentioned to me is, Jide, just like what you have said today, Jide is affordable. You said, Jide, don't let people tell anybody that you're affordable. It's not. Anyway, but he said, you know what?
But you're
Don't say
affordable
it.
to
Don't
those
say
that can
you're
actually
affordable.
afford you. You don't have, it's not being cheap. That's why I'm a marketer and I know when to use certain phrases. Being cheap, you never want to
No,
use
no problem.
in marketing.
No,
Affordability, you
I
definitely want to
understand.
stick to that because you don't know what their income bracket is. They can ask, they can go, oh
Exactly.
yeah, it's affordable. So yeah.
Exactly. So let me tell you. Let me give you this example. So my solution to this, right? Um, I tell people this is my fee, right? And then because of the interest I really have in terms of seeing people grow their business and then they become successful. There are some I'm working with right now that they don't pay me, right? But the fact that they have gotten a software is good for me. So I get into their account, I see what they're doing, they call me for advice, we talk about their business. They're also happy, they're excited, and it makes me happy as well. You know, if you're coming to me asking me things, probably you can also get these things from Google if you go online. But it gives me joy, when I'm able to share thoughts with CEOs, with business owners. We're able to talk about the business. They share from, I have had experience with so many other businesses, so they have one or two
Fantastic.
things to gain, from my experience. So it's been a
Fantastic.
great time,
Fantastic.
it's been a great time, yeah,
That's good.
it's
That's
been a
good.
great time.
Okay.
The
Usually
second
we
question,
have
I didn't get that.
five rapid questions to close out the session, but we've spent a lot of time, a whole lot of time. Usually our time limit is 60 minutes, which makes up an hour, for us to address these and many more concerns, especially for business owners. So, Jide, thank you so much for providing your knowledge, your expertise, and just breaking it down for us, definitely for us to learn. That has been super helpful, and we look forward to having you probably in one of our master classes, which is going to happen soon for the KRO community service. We're looking to kick off very soon as well. It's going to be a paid session because we would need to pay minds like this. We definitely believe in paying for such services to knowledgeable minds. So definitely be on the lookout for that, and follow KRO sessions across all platforms get up-to-date information about our community building sessions going forward. All right, and on that note, thank you so much again, Jide. It's been an amazing time. I've even learned, me that's not an account, I've learned from you today, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy, but I'm still going to disturb you later, Sha, because I still have some questions concerning that email you sent to me. All right, have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.